Now at 9, a case of a highly transmissible disease has been discovered in Indiana. Learn what you need to know.
And President Trump's new tariffs have sent shockwaves through the global market. See how it can take a bite out of your wallet.
Next, the Supreme Court has made a new ruling for deportations. Hear what the ruling is and how its historical effect on immigrant cases.
And the severe weather may be over, but the damage remains in many states across the Midwest. We have new details coming up.
Rain chances ahead tomorrow. All of the full details coming up. NewsLink Indiana starts right now.
Local news about local people, live from Ball State Unified Media. You're watching NewsLink Indiana.
Good evening and thanks for being with us. I'm Mira Bloomer.
And I'm Sophie Schick.
A child in Allen County is confirmed to have a case of the measles. That confirmation comes from the Indiana Department of Health, who says that the child is stable and recovering well. They say that the child was unvaccinated from the disease and that since the disease is so easily spread, a single case of measles is considered an outbreak. This is the first case of measles since early 2024, where a person in Lake County was infected.
The threat of severe storms and destructive tornadoes across the South and Midwest is over, but the danger remains as flooding submerges cars, roadways, and even homes. Over a foot of rain fell last week from Wednesday through Sunday across the Mid-South.
Some locations, including Memphis, Tennessee, recorded nearly an entire spring's worth of rain in a few days. Brian Abel picks up the story from here.
That road is completely underwater.
From road closures across Arkansas to homes only visible by rooftops peeking out of floodwaters in Prospect, Kentucky, the deadly danger continues following last week's severe storms. At least 24 people have died across 7 central and southern states, including 10 lives lost in Tennessee.
We're starting to move teams, especially to the west. Even into next week, we're looking at some flooding and significant flooding.
Not welcome news for communities where rivers have reached major flood stage.
The water was up to my thigh, ice cold. And then as I stepped out, I almost fell because the water was dragging me.
People in several counties across the Bluegrass State had to ration their water for several hours on Monday after multiple water utility plants shut down their electrical equipment used to pump water from rivers.
An incredible job by the Frankfurt Plant Board in getting everything back up and running to everybody who is conserving, including my family.
Rivers are still exceeding barriers. Water seeping through as a tractor struggles to hold up a floodgate in Frankfurt. Tuesday, rescues continued in several water-ravaged places, including eastern Mississippi. Officials are urging people to steer clear of any flooded roads.
Please do not drive through either standing or running water. Turn around. Don't drown.
Brian Abel reporting.
You know what, Sophie? I'm usually a big fan of the rain, but it's been too much. I'm sick of it. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, I like, a good day in the week where I can sit down and read a book or
Yep.
something while it rains, but
Yep.
it's too much for me.
I know. I can't. The flooding, it's a lot. So let's see what Noah has for us with weather.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Certainly not looking as stormy this week, but we're still going to have some of those rain chances tomorrow, sadly. But tonight, it's abnormally cool across our region for the first week of April here. 38 in Muncie, 35 in Marion, 40 the warm spot up in Portland tonight. But we're going to be tracking a few things, including that rain chance tomorrow across our forecast tonight. Freezing temperatures overnight, including a freeze warning through Wednesday morning. Wednesday rain chances, especially tomorrow afternoon, and late week warm-up. I'll have all this and more coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Noah. President Donald Trump's sweeping tariff plans sent shockwaves through the global markets. The next big impact could be on consumers' bottom lines. Karen Kaifa is in Washington with a look at where tariffs could pinch consumers' wallets first.
Some experts say the first place where consumers could feel President Trump's sweeping tariffs could be the grocery store.
Have a look at where each of the grocery items you're buying came from. Where did the avocados come from? Where did the vegetables come from? Where did your pasta come from? And a lot of it came from abroad.
Especially the produce aisle, because fresh fruits and vegetables have high turnover, and many household favorites require some supply from abroad, like bananas from Costa Rica and Guatemala, and grapes from Chile. Also with a short shelf life, seafood. About 80% of seafood in the U.S. comes from countries like Canada, Chile, India, Indonesia, and Vietnam, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Further out, look to coffee prices perking up. The National Coffee Association says more than 99% of U.S. coffee is imported. At big box retailers, the Consumer Technology Association estimates current retail inventories of items like laptops and tablets will last about 3 to 4 months. It predicts higher prices could arrive by late summer in time for back-to-school season. The Toy Association says it's a similar timeline for toys, which they say the U.S. imported by the billions from China and Vietnam last year. That underscores why economists are concerned about how broad tariffs could crimp consumer spending, businesses, and the U.S. economy.
It's a massive tax increase on American consumers, particularly lower middle income households, and it crushes businesses that sell to those consumers, but also buy a lot of imported product to produce whatever they're producing.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
The Supreme Court have ruled that the Trump administration can temporarily use the Alien Enemies Act for deportations. It's a 1798 law that gives the government certain powers during declared wars, as well as actual or threatened invasions or incursions. It's what the U.S. used to detain Japanese nationals during World War II.
That's right, and the Trump administration wants to use it to deport Venezuelan nationals it alleges has gang ties. A Supreme Court ruling last night doesn't decide the merits of that argument. It's more procedural, as Amy Kiley reports.
This is a win for the Trump administration.
The Supreme Court is allowing deportation proceedings under the Alien Enemies Act for now, but with stipulations. The ruling throws out a U.S. district judge's order. President Donald Trump says on social media it's, quote, a great day for justice.
You can use these additional authorities, such as the Alien Enemies Act, to target these terrorist organizations.
But the Supreme Court says the men involved in the case can challenge the use of the Alien Enemies Act. They just have to do so in the district where they're detained. The justices say anyone facing deportation under the wartime law should have that opportunity. The ACLU calls that a victory. It comes after ICE sent alleged Venezuelan gang members to an El Salvador prison while legal challenges were still playing out.
They actually, as a practical matter, can get to the courts and not be whisked away in the middle of the night like was originally done in this case.
Another ruling from the Supreme Court yesterday involves a Maryland man erroneously deported to El Salvador. The justices say the U.S. doesn't have to bring him back for now.
That they can whisk someone out of the country by accident and then have no responsibility to fix, what they've broken, just doesn't make sense as a legal matter and is also just disturbing as a matter of constitutional law.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Coming up next, recalls are being issued for a popular sausage brand. Find out what brand it is.
And an attempted assassin has pled guilty. Learn what we know. Stay with us.
Hey, boss. Okay?
I said I'm fine.
Me the bed, see you in the morning. With the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it. And we lost these.
You can talk to me.
It's been really, really hard for me.
Hey there, Hoosiers. Are you ready to give your child a head start on their future? Indiana 529 savings plans are a simple way to save for their education. Plus, there are some great tax benefits. The best part? It's not just for college. Indiana 529 can be used for tech schools, trade programs, apprenticeships, and more. Start with just $10 a month at myindiana529.com to help them reach their dreams.
I've always loved space and football. Growing up, some people told me I had to choose. But here's the deal. You can be great at more than one thing. And getting involved in STEM opens up your world to a universe of opportunities in life.
This is my time.
Get inspired and get involved today. There are STEM programs and science centers available in your community, so be sure to check out spaceforall.us to learn more and get started.
This is my time. There ain't no doubt in my mind.
Find your place in space.
This is my time.
Space for All.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Welcome back. More than 20,000 pounds of Johnsonville bratwurst have been recalled due to reports of plastic contamination. The American Sausage Company notified the USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service that it received 2 complaints from customers about finding plastic material in the meat. So far, there are no reports of injuries. Johnsonville's cheddar-flavored bratwurst is the subject of the voluntary recall. The product was shipped to stores in 10 states, including Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio. If you have any in your freezer, throw it away or return it to the store.
The Department of Health and Human Services says it is convening a task force to study and make new recommendations on fluoride. The Environmental Protection Agency also announced it plans to review research on the health effects of fluoride in collaboration with HHS. The EPA formally sets the limit on what is allowed and what is recommended under the Safe Drinking Water Act. The new review is centered around a report the National Toxicology Program released in August. It concluded that higher levels of fluoride are linked to lower IQ in children, while another study from the Cochrane collaboration found adding the mineral to tap water leads to slightly fewer cavities in children's baby teeth.
The Department of Justice will scale back in its legal fight against cryptocurrency fraud. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche made the announcement in a memo to staff yesterday. It said the Justice Department will no longer pursue litigation or enforcement actions related to regulatory aspects of digital assets. The change comes after Trump issued an executive order directing the department to focus on cryptocurrency cases, investigating embezzlement, misappropriation of funds, scams, and fake digital assets.
A California man pleaded guilty today to attempting to assassinate Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh in 2022. 29-year-old Nicholas Roski spoke few words during the hearing, but did say he was being treated for a mental illness. The judge accepted his guilty plea of a single charge of attempting to assassinate a justice, saying Roski was competent to enter it. He is set to be sentenced in early October and faces up to life in prison. Roski was armed with a gun and knife when he traveled to Kavanaugh's home in Maryland in June of 2022. Court documents stated he turned around after he saw Kavanaugh's security detail.
Warmer weather ahead by the end of your work week. All the details coming up after the break.
People want to define Gen Z, but that's our job.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital. I put out a forest fire. I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
I've saved lives and led a team on patrol.
I serve.
Well, I go to school full-time while I work full-time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
Did you know that 9 out of 10 Americans are sick of the divisions in our country? But there's one small step we can take to remember that we're still connected. All over America, strangers with different political views are coming together to talk about their lives, not politics, and discovering they actually have a lot in common. Because even if we don't see eye to eye, we can still talk, heart to heart. So let's talk, for a change. Learn more at takeonesmallstep.org.
Emma, did you hear?
Todd's in the hospital.
Who's Todd? He got a collapsed lung from vaping. He thought it was cool.
Not cool.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. It can lead to a lifelong addiction, and we can't be friends if your lungs collapse.
Bogus.
Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
Hey, you got a minute?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Now, I definitely was liking that no cloud in the sky today. It's definitely enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely, but I still wish it was just a little bit warmer outside. Yes. Noah, are we going to see that anytime?
Yeah, you know, guys, last time last week, we were looking at severe weather here, but if you look at our regional radar tonight, we see absolutely nothing happening across the eastern United States, and that's often due to that high pressure that's built in over the last 24 to 36 hours across our region. Can't see really not much of a cloud or rain in sight east of the Mississippi here in the United States tonight, like I mentioned, so it's making for a cool and quiet pattern, which we could really use here. That wasn't the case last week. In fact, though, we saw an incredible amount of rainfall over the first week of April here. One of the wettest starts to April here for East Central Indiana. Newcastle saw over 6.5 inches of rain. Meanwhile, here in Muncie, 4.63 inches, 4.1 in Winchester, 3.9 in Anderson. Obviously, this led to some pretty significant flooding across both the Mississinawa and the White Rivers here in East Central Indiana. Luckily, those rivers have already crested and are falling this week here. Not the case further down in southern Indiana, though. But for here in tonight, it's going to be a calm and cool night, especially cool for this first week here of April. 28 degrees with a mostly clear sky with those northwest winds at about 5 miles an hour. Without those clouds, we're going to remain quite cool tonight, even to the point where we're going to have widespread frost. As a result, the southern two-thirds of our viewing area are under that freeze warning, where we're going to see sub-freezing temperatures as low as 27 degrees tonight. So if you've planted anything early, maybe have some of those animals outside, definitely want to make sure they're in shelter. Bring those plants inside or make sure they're covered tonight, because it's going to be a cold one across our region. Tomorrow, a few degrees warmer, especially across the day. 31 at that bus stop, 44 by the time we get to noon, 47 at 5 p.m. But look at these winds out of the south at about 5, 10, and even 15 miles an hour. That's going to start to bring that warmer air and that moisture across our region, setting the stage for a rain threat. So we're going to time that out for you tomorrow here, right around drive time, 5 p.m. tomorrow. The line of rain and showers moving across that I-69 corridor here. We're not expecting anything in terms of severe weather tomorrow afternoon, but definitely want to have that raincoat in handy, as those heavier downpours could definitely impact the morning and the evening commutes tomorrow. Now, as we move into tomorrow night and into the overnight hours into Thursday here, we see those rain showers begin to stick around here, but they should be out of here by the time we get to Thursday morning. Now, like I mentioned, those wind gusts especially and those temperature trends always going to be interlinked, as we have those southerly winds out of our region. 53 on Thursday, 52 on Friday, 54 on Saturday, and then up to 61 on Sunday, returning back to average. Those wind gusts are going to play a part in those warming weather and the warming temperatures. We see those winds out of the south at about 20 to 15 miles an hour here Wednesday afternoon. They're going to fall a little bit of a lull and then increase as we head into Thursday, especially early morning Thursday, as those winds gust out of the southwest at about 15 to 20, maybe even 25 miles an hour, before calming down as we head into tomorrow and into Thursday. Now, the 7-day forecast still showing that sunshine and even that little bit of that warm up here as we head into the late work week. 53 on Thursday, 52 on Friday, 54 on Saturday, finally up into the 60s, right on average, 61 on Sunday, 68 on Monday. May not get to those 70-degree mark as we see that rain move into our region. But overall, guys, it's looking a lot calmer. I know it's been a little bit cold these past few days here, but it's still looking a little bit like spring as we get towards the end of the work week.
Yes, when I saw the 50s, 60s coming up, it's kind of just like, it's been a waiting game for us, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It is so exciting. I am so disappointed that it randomly got cold these past couple days, because it started to bloom on campus and now everything's dying again, and I hate it.
I know, I just grabbed my winter jacket back out of the closet for the 10th time again. Yeah. I'm like, here we go. So.
And not to mention just how gloomy it's been across our region here. I mean, it felt like we didn't see the sun from about Wednesday all the way to Sunday. And not to mention that rainfall, like I mentioned, many of the rivers and streams were just flooded, causing some hazards across the region. So it's nice to see things finally calming down for a while.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Noah. There's lots more to get to on NewsLink Indiana. Stephen Grotta has a preview of sports.
Be right there. Wait. Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, feel. Then make sure it's cool.
Where'd you learn that?
SmokeyBear.com. Brushed up on some tips before we left. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Students who can read by the end of 3rd grade are 35% more likely to graduate. I'm Dr. Katie Jenner, Indiana Secretary of Education, here to tell you how reading 30 minutes per day can improve the trajectory of a child's life. Whether you're reading with your child or they are reading independently, this is one of the most important things you can do to help them succeed. So this school year, please encourage your child to continue reading. It's a small habit that makes a big difference.
Food isn't just fuel to live, it's fuel to grow. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. When people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger, and together we can open endless possibilities for people to thrive. Visit feedingamerica.org/actnow.
At night, NewsLink Indiana brings you the news before you go to bed. But Friday mornings, you're waking up with Cardinal Weather, bringing you up to speed on the day's top stories.
And giving you up-to-the-minute conditions from the Ball State Weather Center.
And of course, lots of fun.
I gave mine personality. Look, it's got eyebrows.
Ooh, my lucky glove didn't even work.
But I also am excited for those fall temperatures. Start your Friday mornings with Cardinal Weather, live on the Cardinal Weather Facebook page.
Welcome back to NewsLink Indiana. I'm Stephen Grotto with sports. Ball State baseball is in action tonight against a familiar face. NewsLink Indiana's Dakota Atwood joins us live. Dakota, what do you have for us?
Thanks, Stephen. Dakota Atwood here live from newly named Shebank Stadium where Ball State baseball plays its home games. Tonight, though, Ball State baseball on the road to take on Indiana foe, the Indiana Hoosiers. The last time these two teams met up, they ended in a 12-inning tie due to the lack of lights. Tonight, the Cardinals jumped on the scoreboard early, throwing the first punch going up 2-0 in the first inning. Drew Young started on the bump and delivered 2 2/3 innings while giving up 2 runs. Alex Richter was hit by another pitch as he leads the nation in hit by pitches and inches his way closer to the Ball State record. IU would come back though. They dropped 5 runs in the bottom of the third, and despite a comeback effort from the comeback kids, it was Ball State finding their way into the loss column tonight, 5-7. The Cardinals are back in action this weekend at newly named Shebank Stadium for a 3-game series against Northern Illinois. Live in Muncie, Dakota Atwood, NewsLink Indiana. Stephen, back to you.
Thanks, Dakota. Moving things over to the hardwood, the Florida Gators are national champions of March Madness. The Gators held on to beat the Houston Cougars 65-63 following a 12-point second-half comeback. With just 46 seconds to go, Florida took their first lead since the first half before holding on defensively after Houston was unable to get a shot off in the final seconds. This victory marks the 3rd Gators national title and first since going back-to-back in 2006 and 2007. For Houston, they were denied what would have been the program's first ever national title. From championships to a championship performance center, big changes are coming to Ball State Athletics. NewsLink Indiana's Josh Gabbard scoured campus to find out more.
Ball State University already hired a new football coach, but the changes in the athletic department do not stop there. The next step? Replace this very turf.
And from a football standpoint, we put the Dancing Charlie logo in the middle of the field a couple seasons ago, thinking that there may be a shift with that logo. There's not going to be, but we also knew that this time in this year we were going to replace the field anyway.
Football is not the only program getting upgrades. Worthen Arena has already gotten a new Terraflex court for the volleyball team and brand new lower bowl seating. This summer, the arena and the basketball court will get a fresh coat of paint.
We are going to fully sand down the current court, and we're going to rebrand that court. It's going to look like a basketball court. It'll look different than what the current layout looks like.
The biggest upgrade to the athletic department will be just outside Worthen Arena. The construction of the Eric Foss Champions Performance Center will renew the currently outdated training facility.
We do know that currently that we would be behind, and with the construction of the new Eric Foss Championship Performance Center, we will no longer be behind. If anything, we'll be at the top of the league in terms of a brand new facility.
Being at the top of the league does not come without the help of alumnus Eric Foss.
When we approached him as he was engaging with Ball State as an alum, he said, "I love this idea," and he wanted to make sure that we were thinking big enough so that we weren't settling for something that we wish one day that we had more of.
The Eric Foss Champions Performance Center is set to open for student athletes in about a year. The facility aims to set the standard for the Mid-American Conference. In Muncie, Josh Gabbard, NewsLink, Indiana.
A really great national championship game that we watched last night. I only got to watch the second half, and from what I saw, it was a real defensive battle.
Oh yeah, and the students in the crowd, it was amazing to see. I couldn't have imagined being there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I personally, when the game was going on, I was at Waffle House, and so watching it on a tiny phone, I loved it.
Yes, it definitely keeps the excitement. You gotta watch wherever you go. I could see people, I was out last night, and I could see people watching on their phones too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good idea. I think it really goes to show they kept showing the Houston players after the loss, which made me really feel for them. I wanted Florida to win, but it was sad to see all those athletes go
It definitely
down.
was, yeah. Well, thank you so much, Stephen. Yeah. Coming up, check out how DNA has helped bring back an ancient species.
And see the new addition at Disney's Animal Kingdom after the break.
Yarr! All I wanted was my treasure, and I wound up with a lawsuit from my neighbors. And a belly full of regret.
Thanks, Salty Pete. What a powerful dig story. Okay, great class, everybody. Before we go, let's stand and say the safe digging pledge. Shovels don't know right from wrong, but I do. And I'll always contact Indiana 811 at least 2 working days before digging. It's the only way to dig.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here.
Wait.
What?
I can't drive.
Why?
I'm high.
Oh.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. An ancient animal's DNA has helped it return from extinction. Check this out. These 3 young dire wolves were born in October and are being raised at an unknown nature preserve. They're named Romulus, Remus, and Khaleesi, according to Colossal Biosciences. The pups carry the traits of the long-lost giant dogs. Scientists took DNA from a 13,000-year-old tooth and 72,000-year-old skull to create healthy direwolf puppies. You may recognize the direwolf as it's one of the legendary creatures on HBO's Game of Thrones series. The animal had previously been extinct for more than 12,000 years.
Mickey, Donald, say hello to Tucker. This baby Maasai giraffe is the newest addition to Disney's Animal Kingdom. He's the 3rd calf a giraffe named Mara has had since coming to the park in 2015. Every birth is important because giraffe populations are declining. Maasai giraffes are one of 4 different species of giraffes, and they are all considered vulnerable. Tucker's arrival adds to the genetic diversity and the health of the Maasai giraffe population.
Noah, how has the weather been looking recently?
Yeah, it's certainly been calmer and quieter than we saw last week. If we look at our 7-day forecast here, we're really going to see that chance. Still quite cool through the end of the week, 46, but you start to see that warming trend, 53 on Thursday, 52 on Friday. Then sunshine really breaks out over the weekend, 54 on Saturday, 61 on Sunday, 68 on Monday. But with those warmer temperatures comes that added chance of rainfall on Monday. 20% chance right now, but I would expect that to go up, so maybe dampening those spring-like temperatures for just a bit. But winter slowly losing the battle here as we start to see some of those last freeze warnings here, hopefully this week.
Yep, I'm definitely ready for winter to be gone.
Yes,
It's lasted too long.
I cannot wait to put away my quarter zips and my jackets and everything for the whole time.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Noah. And that's all tonight for NewsLink Indiana. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night at 9, streaming live on the NewsLink Indiana Facebook page, YouTube channel, and WCRD 91.3.
And for news anytime, anywhere, just go to ballstatedaily.com. Have a great night and stay safe.